Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Yamuna Tira Vanasari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanasari Yamuna Tira Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Today we'll speak a little bit about Panchatattva. Before we start, I would like to have small prayers. Madhyana Timirandasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamakyam Tadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Tapal Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamsya Sri Rupam Sadvijatam Sahranaranatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagamrita Shishakam Tansya Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Nitripatamaham Vande Sri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Everyone please. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hari Om Tat Sat. So I'm also having some folks joining on the internet, so I'm middling with my phone. Please, sorry for the interruption. Alright. So I've been speaking to some of the students who are coming to the online program every Sunday on Lord Krishna, what is his predominant position, and also his other aspects. So I'm covering under the topic the Lord and 5 features. There is also a chapter by that name in Chaitanya Charitamrita, translated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So that is in verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti shabdete. So Srila Prabhupada gives a good example. Just like a sun planet is there. So we don't see the sun unless we are outside. But the sun rays finds us in. So if you have windows open, the sun rays comes in. So one thing is to realize that the sun rays are there. The sun is a source of radiation. And someone who has more information, so they find that they can see the sun planet is a globe, a burning ball. They can see it's a source of heat and light. So they understand it to be a spherical in nature. And it's a burning sphere because it heats the whole planet. And someone who knows even beyond, from the Vedas we understand, it's not just a burning ball of fire, but it's a place where there are inhabitants of the sun planets. And there is a predominant person called as sun god or Vivaswan. So that is the Prabhupada gives us example. The same way, so our acharyas have described how to understand Supreme Lord Krishna. So there are various, so some philosophers, some school of thought describes that there is one God. So it's very commonly we can understand, decipher from our experience in this world, that we as mortal living beings, we see humans and other species of life, they take birth and then they evolve. So they multiply and then finally they meet death. So this 6 transformation happens, Shadavikara. So there's a birth, Jayate, Parinamate, Upajayate, then Vardate, then Apakshiyate, Rishiyate. So there are 6 transformations. Everything is material world undergoes. There's a creation at some point, there's a destruction or death at some point. So we understand that we are temporary in nature. So there has to be something, there has to be someone. So people start with something. So there is an energy, or there is someone who is controlling, who maintains the seasons. There is summer, there is winter, changing of seasons. There's something going on, and there is some order in this whole creation. So there must be somebody who is complete moderating this whole functioning of this universe. So they understand it to be God. And the Abrahamic religions also don't give further information about God. All we know is there is some God. We don't know much about him. But our acharyas, different schools of thought, starting from Shankaracharya, so he's given some more features of God. So Shankaracharya starts with Brahma Satyam, so he's the truth. He's the ultimate truth. Nothing lesser than that. There is this absolute truth. So it brings the concept of the absolute truth, that which does not change. So here, change is permanent in this material world. There's always continuously change happening. So God has to be someone who doesn't change. He's absolute in all respects. And then we understand from other acharyas, if you go further, just like the atomic theory that we study in schools, right? So we have a Dalton's theory, so in which it is said that the atom is the indivisible part of the nature, the whole creation. So it's indivisible. So then there's a Rutherford and Charles. So they further establish that within the atom there are subatomic particles. There is electrons, neutrons, and there is protons. And further as the theory goes, it evolves. The further they find there is subatomic particles, there are even more subatomic particles. They are sometimes waves, sometimes matter. So we understand all these things from the school textbooks. So in the same way, as a school of thought also evolves. So from starting with Shankaracharya, talking about Brahman Satyam, the absolute truth. Then other acharyas give further more details, like Ramanuja and Madhvacharya. So they establish that there is Ishvara, there is Jiva, and there is Prakriti. There are three different entities. So Ishvara is also God, and Jada is the matter, and Jiva is the living entity. So they establish two different things here. Three different things, of course. But Shankaracharya already confirms that Jada is different from Brahman. So he confirms that Jada is temporary and it is illusory. So he says Brahman is the only truth. But Ramanuja says there is further. Within that Brahman, there is Parabrahman, there is ordinary Brahman. And then Madhvacharya gives further more details about this. He says that how that difference, Panchaveda, there's difference between Jiva, difference between Jada and Jiva, difference between Ishvara and Jiva. So what are the differences and how are the differences? So there is now three entities established. So further, so we have the acharyas also further say there are more truths. If you go finer and finer, just like the sun globe understanding. So from here it looks like rays, then there is a globe and there is further sun planet. Same way. So if you further magnify it, so the acharyas they further conclude that there are 5 different aspects of God. 5 God in 5 features. So that's what we've been discussing. So we're going to see a little bit about 5 features, Panchatattva. So what are they and how to understand them. So according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is very nicely established in the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the 7th chapter, there is a chapter with the name Lord in 5 features. So we're going to see a little bit from that and also from Brahma Samhita. So, Krishna is the supreme absolute truth. That is the conclusion from all the scriptures. Eta chamsa kalapam shaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indriyari Vyakulam Lopam Vidyanti Yuge Yuge. Srimad Bhagavatam very clearly establishes, talks about the different incarnations and finally concludes Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And it's further established in Upanishads, further established in all the Vedic scriptures. Krishna is the supreme personality of God. So, but we also have in different, coming from Indian subcontinent, there are different other theories, thoughts. Krishna, what about Vishnu, and what about Shiva, and some say Durga. So there are different demigods that we hear, so different names that comes across. who are attributed to be the Supreme God. So here we try to understand all of them in the perspective, in correct perspective of the Vedas, the Acharyas, and how they establish them to be the absolute 5 different forms of God. So first and foremost important point is we have to see what is the source of our knowledge, the epistemology. So for the Vedic understanding, the epistemology is the Vedas. The Vedas is the absolute truth because it is coming from the Supreme Lord Himself. Vedaishcha sarve ahameva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. So Krishna says, I am the source of the Vedas and I am to be known by the Vedas. Vedavid Vedanta Krit. He is the creator of the Vedas and he is to be known from the Vedas. So it's very wonderful. He is establishing that in the scriptures. But further to understand, so we always have a curiosity to understand, to go by details, right? Talk about a person, an superhero or a film actor. You want to know his personal details. What is he in his personal life? What was his alma mater? So we like to know more details about a person. So it's not at all surprising. We all want to know about the Supreme God. But we sometimes go to a wrong source. Either we we read from something on the internet, we Google. So Google has become God these days. Right? For anything, we go to Google and search for it. And we think it is authoritative. So that is not correct. Cannot be always correct. It definitely is helpful. So Google definitely gives a lot of information about the material, different things is going on in the world. Can somebody close the door? Thank you. So Google is not always authoritative in all aspects. So can we take the university as authority? So we have a lot of body of knowledge that the university, the scientists, the philosophers, they all have established over years and years, over centuries. But that's definitely a lot of volume of knowledge. It talks about different things. But there is a bias also. So they don't accept everything according to its value. So they have their bias. They have, from the background they come from, they have bias on certain things. So, since it is a body of knowledge created by man, it's not authoritative. So, what is authoritative? Authoritative is something that comes from the absolute truth, absolute person, who doesn't have doesn't have to see birth or doesn't have to see death. He is absolute in all aspects. It's called aparishreya. The Sanskrit aparishreya means it's not man-made. So that which is man-made is absolute source of knowledge. And that the Vedas is the absolute source of knowledge because it's not made by any human. It's not something assimilated by experiments. It is something that is there from the time of creation. Sanatana Dharma. So the Vedas tell us that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the different Vedas and Acharyas, they further say the 5 different forms of God. So we're going to see a little bit about that. So first is Krishna, the absolute supreme person. Krishna Tattva. So Brahma Samhita very beautifully explains Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavita Pistayeva Tayeva Nijarupa Kala Talavihi Goloka Eva Nivashati Akilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So it really says Krishna, what kind of a person he is? He is the Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. So he is full of bliss, full of knowledge, and full of eternity. Satchit Ananda Rupa. And where does he reside? That information is also given. So Goloka Eva Nimashati Akhilatma Bhuto. So he is Akhilatma Bhuto. So he is the source of all life, Akhilatma Bhuto. And where does he reside? He resides in Goloka Dham. That is information that's given in Brahma Samhita. And then, further going, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna establishes himself that he is the source of everything. He says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajate ma buddha bhava samanvita. So everything originates from me. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha. Prabhavaha means origin. And everything is emanating from me. Mattaha means from me comes everything. So he is the source of everything. So absolute truth has to be a person who is the source of everything. Everything should be emanating from him. So Sat feature of that is established in Bhagavad Gita like this. That is eternal and is the source of everything. And next aspect of God is to understand He is fully knowledgeable. He is the ultimate source of knowledge. Because we all feel we are eternal. Because nobody thinks about death unless we are very close to death. Right? So we always think we're going to live forever. And we make our plans in life so that we live forever. Make plans for retirement, make plans but we don't make plans for the next life. So intelligent people make plans for the next life also. So that is the Buddha Bhava Samanvita, Krishna says. If you're intelligent, you think beyond what you're seeing, what meets the eye. So, talking about the knowledge, Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita very beautifully, says, Kshetram Kshetrajnam Chapi Mam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. Kshetra Kshetrajyor Jnanam Yatta Jnanam Matam Mama. So in the 13th chapter, he says that Arjuna should know that everybody is Kshetrajna. Everybody understands a little bit about their body, their immediate surroundings. So Krishna describes the field of activities. Or Kshetra means what is around you. So everybody is cognizant. We always have the capability to interpret what's going around us, and then we take actions suitable for ourselves. We take things that is favorable for us, we reject things that is not favorable for us. So that's what it makes us an conscious living being. And so here Krishna says everybody has the Kshetra, they also know their Kshetra, they are Kshetrajna, no doubt about that. But Arjuna should know that Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. I am a Kshetrajna who knows all the fields of activities. Everybody knows a little bit about their field of activity, but I know all the fields of activity. So I know each and every person, what is their history, what they are today, what they want to become, and what they will become tomorrow also. So Krishna knows the past, present and future, and everything and anything that he has created. So he is the source of everything. He first saw that. He is a Sat feature, and he is also the source of knowledge, and he knows everything. He is a Chit feature of God. And Krishna also establishes the next aspect that we all hanker for is happiness. Everybody in this world, they're looking to make themselves more and more happy. So they look for happiness, and they look for more happiness. And they make plans for achieving that. Ananda. So everybody looks for a state of happiness, peace, and bliss. Some in the mode of goodness, they look for happiness. They like to be in a situation very peaceful, where they can meditate upon their goodness, how they can become better. So some people look for happiness which is temporary. That's a mode of passion. So they look for immediate gratification. I do something, I get something immediately, and immediately it becomes satisfied. So that is the mode of passion. And people in the mode of ignorance. So what do they look for? They look for happiness that is not just it is temporary, but also it is harmful to themselves. So they look for drinking, intoxication, and things like that, eat things that are putrefied, which is not good for their health. So all these things makes them, they look for happiness in mode of ignorance. So according to different people, they all look for happiness. But the real source of happiness, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that he is the real source of happiness. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. So he is the Bhokta, Rama. So Rama, the word Rama means the enjoyer. And he is the enjoyer of all things that is to be enjoyed. Bhokta means to be enjoyed. And Rama means enjoy. So Krishna says, Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Suhridam sarvabhutana yatmama shantim richati. And he also gives a clue to all of us. So if you want to become happy, you better know this. Yatmama shantim richati. So you want to become peaceful. Peace is the first step towards happiness. Unless you're peaceful, that is the mode of goodness, right? People in the mode of ignorance, they don't look for peace. They look for something that puts them in an intoxicated state. They don't care for peace or anything. They don't look for anything beyond an immediate few hours. The mode of passion, they may be a little far-sighted. They look for something, they plan and they execute things. But again, it is very short-lived. Right? But people in the mode of goodness, they like to be peaceful. They look for, they look or they exert themselves and they make plans to have a peaceful life, a retired life, or even a peaceful weekend. Right? We all have come here, Sunday Feast program, we could have done so many things around the world. We could have gone to a cinema, could have gone to a theme park, but we are all here looking for something. That is mode of goodness. Mode of goodness means you look for something to make yourself better, make yourself more peaceful. So that is what you get by, the only way to get that everlasting peace, Krishna says, is that Bhoktara Ekavapasa. Understand that Krishna is the enjoyer and we are to be serving him. So that is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna says, Satchit Anand, that he is the source of eternity, source of knowledge, and is source of happiness. So that is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the discussion between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Rai, he says very beautifully, Lord Chaitanya says, Satchitananda Maya Krishnera Swarupa Ataeva Swarupa Shakti Haya Tina Rupa. So Krishna's, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu says that there are three different aspects of God. So he continues to say, Anandamshe Hladini Sat Amshe Sandini Chid Amshe Samvit Yare Jnana Karimani. So there is three aspects that is Satchit and that is related to this Sat, Chit and Ananda. Sat, eternity. Krishna is actually, aspect of eternity is Sandini. The Sandini aspect of God is the source of everything. Krishna talks about I am the source of everything. So that comes from that aspect of God. And Sandini, Hladini and Samvit. The Samvit aspect of God is the source of knowledge. And Hladini aspect of God is the source of happiness, Ananda. So Krishna is the source of all these three things, eternity, happiness and knowledge. And his first expansion, that is the next aspect of the Panchatattva. First we saw Lord Krishna, and the next immediate aspect of, the second aspect is Balaram. So Balaram is none other than Krishna, but he represents the first two attributes of God, namely Samvit and Sandini. So Sandini is the eternality aspect and Samvit is the knowledge aspect. So these two attributes of God is represented by Balaram. So Balaram is the first expansion of God in Prabhupada's words. So first expansion means he is the expansion of Krishna and he takes care of everything that Krishna needs, including the land on which he is walking, his different aspects, his different items that he uses. So everything is the expansion of Balaram. And he is also a source of knowledge. If someone wants to know about Krishna, so he is the source of knowledge. He gives through him, through the spiritual master, he gives the knowledge. This Sandini and Samvit aspects, attributes of Krishna is represented by Balaram, the first expansion. And the Hladini is the third aspect, which you're going to see a little later. We'll continue on Balaram. So Balaram, his relationship with Krishna is very special. Sometimes it is the Sakya Rasa, the mode of friendship. Sometimes it is the Dasya Rasa, the mode of a servant, like Lakshmana. When he comes as Lakshmana, when he comes as Lord Rama, Balaram comes as Lakshmana, and he serves his brother like a servant. That's the Dasya Rasa exhibits. And sometimes it's a friendship, right? Balaram is more like a friend. And sometimes also as a big brother. So he's also as a Vatsalya Rasa. So all these three aspects, the parenthood, the friendship, and also the Dasya Rasa or the mood of servant, this is exhibited by Lord Balaram. So Lord Balaram understands Krishna's wishes and he does everything that is required, including the planning, execution. Just like a president of America, let's say, visits some country. So before he goes, 6 months before he goes, whole entourage, he goes there, makes plans, which hotel he stays, and then where he does what, who are the dignitaries he's going to meet. So all this planning is done there before he comes. So in the same way, if it is for the President of America, then we'll talk about the Supreme Person, the absolute Supreme Person of Krishna. So he said, Srimad Bhagavatam very beautifully says this, Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangas Rupashadam Yajner Sankirtane Prayet Yajatihi Sumedashaha. So Krishna, whenever he comes, his whole entourage comes, his associates comes. So they all come and they make the whole plan. So that is Balaram. So Balaram is his God himself. He's not different from Krishna, but he takes the role of planning for Krishna. Because nobody else can plan for Krishna. Because Krishna is Krishna. And only he can plan for himself. That is what is Balaram. So Balaram, he expands the holy Dham, he expands into his weapons, he expands into the body of knowledge, the Vedas, and everything that Krishna possesses is actually Balaram. So that is the Samvit and Sandhini aspect. So we saw a little bit about Lord Balaram. And the Brahma Samhita very beautifully describes how Balaram, the spiritual world, the Golokadam, is a Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. It is an expansion of bliss, it's an expansion of eternality and permanence and all that. So it is existing eternal in the spiritual world. And Brahma Samhita also explains Ramadi Mukti Shokala Yemena Tishtan Nanavatarana Krot Bhuvanesha Kintu. So there are different incarnations of God. So they also have their own planets. Lord Rama is there, Lord Varaha, Nrishimhadeva. So different incarnations. Srimad Bhagavatam describes 28 incarnations, but there are different, many other incarnations. And they all have their own different planets in the spiritual world. So that is the spiritual world. The spiritual world is just 1/3, 2/3 of the creation of Krishna. There's 1/3 of creation in the material world. We are coming to that now. So, Buddhist also says that the Tripadasya Amritam Divi. Tripada means 3/4. Sorry, 2/3. 2/3 of the creation is the Amritam, or the spiritual world. And 1/4 of the creation is the material world. So what is material world? So material world of the Bhuloka. So what we understand is the place where we live. And that's a part of the creation where the Jivatmas, the souls who have wanted to experience separation from Krishna, wanted to be separate from Krishna, they are put in this place called Bhuloka or the Martyaloka, the place of birth and death. And this was only a small part of the creation. It's like the expanse of the spiritual world is so wonderful. It is full of the emanations, the Brahma Jyoti of the Supreme Lord. The Brahma Jyoti does not come into the material world. It is covered by a dark cloud. So the knowledge doesn't come into the material world. It's knowledge you have to seek. So in the material world, first Lord Mahavishnu, he expands. When Balaram expands into 4 incarnations called Chaturvyuha incarnations, and they further expands into Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu, he lies on the Karana ocean, or the causal ocean. And from him comes different universes. That is beautifully explained in the Brahma Samhita again. Yashyaika nishvashita kala matavalamvyo jivanti loma vilaja jagat andanata. So jivanti loma vilaja jagat andanata. So this anda, or Brahmandas, so they come out of the pores of Mahavishnu. That is explained in the Loma Vilaja. Loma Vilaja means the pores from the hairs of the Lord. And how long do they live? They live Eika Nishvashita Kalam. The time period of their life, the Brahmanda's life, is one breath of Mahavishnu. So you can imagine. So in one breath of Mahavishnu, this Brahmanda is created. Many, many different universes are created. And within each, he further expands. Mahavishnu expands into Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And he maintains this universe. And Garbhodakshaya Vishnu further expands into Paramatma, or the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. And he's there in each and every atom that the whole creation is made up of. So he is there in every atom. So not even a single thing moves without his permission. Trinam api na charati. The blade of grass doesn't move without his permission. Because his Paramatma is there in every aspect of creation, every atom of the creation. He's there within us. He's there in each and every atom this world is made up of. And he's holding everything together in this wonderful place. So there is the scientists, they always wonder, how can the protons stay together in such a small nucleus? The nucleus is said to be 10 to the power minus 20. The atom itself is 10 to the minus 10. And 1,000 or 1 millionth or 1 billionth of that is the nucleus. And all the positively charged protons is put in this nucleus, in one small space. How is it possible? So they gave a name called nuclear force. This nuclear force is the word which is binding everything together. But this actual nuclear force is none other than Krishna. It's Paramatma. He's sitting there, the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and holding the atom together. If the atom is not together, then what about this whole world? Right? We construct bridges, and you have to have all the concrete stick together. They have to remain there for the cars to fly over them. So imagine, so everything is sitting in that place with the pearls strung on the thread. Krishna says that Matta Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya Mai Sarvam Idam Protam Sutre Manigana Iva. Sutre Manigana Iva. Sutre means thread, which is tying the entire pearls. So Krishna, as Paramatma, is there in every atom and is holding everything together. So without his permission, nothing can happen. So if that's the situation, it's not even a blade of grass will move, because he's there as Paramatma in every atom. So the fact that we are able to walk, able to talk, able to do what we like is all because of the mercy of Paramatma. He's letting things happen. He's letting you do what you're doing. If he thinks, everything can stop. So we can become immobile, or we can become paralyzed, not be able to do anything that we want to do. So all we have is Ichha Shakti. The Jivatma, all it has is Ichha Shakti. It cannot do anything by himself. It depends on the Paramatma for every small things, whether you like it or don't like it. So if you know it with knowledge, you acknowledge his greatness, you acknowledge the beauty of his creation, then you become a devotee. So if you don't acknowledge it, also it still works. But you are doing it avidhi purvakam. You are doing it in a wrong way. So that's why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that yagyatam karmanam anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So we become bound by karma, or action. Because we don't acknowledge his supremacy, we don't acknowledge his greatness and his benevolence on us, that he's letting us do what we are doing. So because of that, we are held accountable. Because we are utilizing his property. The body itself is his property. It doesn't belong to us. The body is made up of atoms. And who made these atoms? Who made the atoms stay together? So it's Krishna. So even the body doesn't belong to us. So when you talk about house, when you talk about the property, someone thinks he owns the whole country. Someone thinks he owns the whole whatnot, right? So we possess the phone, we possess everything that we think that is ours, it's mine. But looking at this from this perspective, so from Bhagavad Gita's perspective, we understand that nothing is separate from Krishna. So the body itself doesn't belong to us. So what to talk about ourselves? So going further, let us come to that point later, about the Jivatma. But we just saw Mahavishnu. He's lying on the cosmos ocean. All the universes comes from him. And he further expands into each universe. And the creation within the universe happens. First jiva, first soul, to first be, I would not say created, but first to be appear in the Brahmanda is the Brahma. So Brahma is the soul, is the most perfect, is the most qualified amongst the other souls. So he is given the post of Brahma. So he is given the power to create. And so he is again a Jivatma. He is not a God. He is not the Supreme Lord. He has the power to create given by God. So he is just an order executor. He doesn't have the complete control over things. So coming back to Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu is the source of the creation. So from Krishna comes Balaram, from Balaram comes Mahavishnu. And from Mahavishnu, the universes come, and the Jivatma they come. So before he brings forth the other souls, so he has to have, he first further transforms himself. Vishnu transforms himself into Shambhu. Shambhu is none other than Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is a very special relationship with Vishnu. He is Guna Avatar of Vishnu. He is not Jivatma, neither he is Vishnu Tattva. So he is in between Vishnu and Jiva. So he is a very special place. We will see about him a little later. So after Mahavishnu, so we saw three aspects, three different forms of God. That is Krishna, Balaram. Krishna is the original Supreme Person, and Balaram is his first expansion, and the other expansions, including Vishnu. So Krishna has two types of expansions. One is called as Swamsha, another is called Vibhinamsha. So what is Swamsha we see here? It comes from Vishnu Purana, so nice quotation here. Swamsha cha atha Vibhinamsha iti dvedayam ishyate Vibhinamshas tu jivaha sayant. So the translation is like this. There are two types of Amsha of Lord. Yeah, Swamsha and Vibhinamsha. Vibhinamsha is the Jivatma. So Vibhinna means separated. Swamsha means his own. So all the Vishnu Tattva, Vishnu, Balaram, Krishna, it's all Krishna's forms, Paramatma and everything. But Vibhinamsha means separated forms. So the Jivatma, all of us are Jivatmas or souls. So we are separated from Krishna for eternity. We are also his own form. We are an Amsha of Krishna. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Mamevamsa jiva loke jiva bhuto sanatana. He says that all this, Arjuna should understand, all these Jivatmas, they are my Amsha. They are my eternal part and parcel, separated part and parcel. The words of Srila Prabhupada. So we are separated Amsha of Krishna. We call it Anuatma Jiva. And Krishna's forms are Swamsha, his own expansions. So all these expansions is required for the material creation. I already described material creation is required because we, the Jivatmas, we want a place where Krishna is not present before us. Because we want to become, in one way, we want to control over nature. We want to think that everything belongs to me, this is my field, this is just like the dogs have dominion over the places, right? How did you come to my place? So they bark. So the same way, everybody here in this material world, so they want to have a dominion over their own place, their positions, their relations, or whatnot. So we can see from the animal world also, the lions have their pride. They have their own place. Anybody who comes, they defend. So that is the nature of living entity in the material world. So they all think they are the master of situation. They are the enjoyers. So in that situation, Krishna has to keep them separate because you don't belong here. This is a place where everybody is happy in communion with God. And here we are separately, we want to enjoy with God, so we are put in a place in the material world, which is only a small part of the creation of God. and it is full of ignorance, because the emanation from God, Brahma Jyoti, doesn't enter into this place. And in this place, each one is vying against each other to be the masters. So some are exploiters, some are exploited. So that is the nature of the material world. So coming back to before we go to Jivatma, we talk about Shambhu. So what is this Shambhu Tattva or Shiva Tattva, the fourth aspect? So we saw Krishna, Balaram, we saw Mahavishnu, and other Vishnus, all called Swamsha. And we spoke about Shiva a little bit. We saw that Shiva is the expansion, Gunavatar of Vishnu, for the purpose of creation, purpose of the maintaining the material world. So Krishna, as I said, lives in the Goloka Vrindavan eternally. And when he has to deal with the material world, he transforms himself into Shiva. And you see that Brahma Samhita very beautifully describes what is Shiva's position. Shriram yatha ati vikara vishesha yogat sanjayate nahitata pratagasti hetu yash shambhutam apitata samupaiti karya. So, before this verse, Krishna speaks about the Shakti, or the one who maintains the material world. So now we already come to the point of material world. Material world has been created, but someone has to maintain the material world, right? So that is his energy. Krishna sends forth the fourth aspect of Krishna. So Krishna, Balaram, then Mahavishnu, then fourth comes Shakti. Shiva and then Shakti. The Shakti is the energy of God which controls, which maintains. So just like you have a big factory or an administration, you need someone to manage it so that things happens as per the plan. So that is what is Durga or Shakti. So Krishna says that Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga. So Durga is the Vibharti. She maintains this Bhuvana, all these three planetary systems. She maintains this Bhuvar, Swar and Bhuvar. So all the planetary systems she maintains for as per the wish of Krishna. Srishti Sthiti Sadhana Shakti Rekha. So she takes part of the creation, maintenance and the destruction as per the will of Krishna. Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga. Ichchana Rupam. Ichcha means desire. According to the desire of God, she executes it. So the fourth aspect, or Shakti, or energy of God, is that aspect which executes what Krishna wants. So just like we have the example Prabhupada gives us, and the President of America doesn't have to make sure everybody follows the rules of the traffic rules. Somebody skips the red sign, he doesn't have to come and give a ticket. But he has his agency, he has his powers, he has his dominion, and his agents execute and make sure the law of the land is upheld. So that is the Shakti. The Shakti is the aspect of God which executes his will. Ichchana Rupam, according to his desire, the Shakti executes the will. So that is the fifth aspect. Fourth aspect, Shakti. So we saw Lord Shiva and then we saw Shakti. So when Vishnu had to deal with the material creation, he transforms into Lord Shiva. So that's what we saw before. Just like milk transforms into a yogurt, but yogurt cannot transform back to milk. The same way. So Shiva is an aspect, an amsha of Vishnu in order to deal with certain material aspects. That Brahma Samhita very beautifully describes that Samupaiti Karyat. So in the previous sloka he described about Durga, Shakti. The next sloka he describes about that one who controls the Shakti. And that is Shiva. So we saw about these four aspects. And the last aspect, all these things are Swamshas. The last aspect is Jivatma. The Jivatma is the soul, our own real self. So Prabhupada gives an example, just like talk about this is my head, this is my eyes, this is my arms, and this is my legs. But who are you? So there's no answer to that question. The answer to the question is we are Atma, we are the spirit soul. The real us is the spirit soul, the Jivatma. And here it is described that we are also part and parcel of Krishna. We are Vibhinnamsha, we are separated part and parcel of Krishna. And we are part of Krishna. In that sense, we are also part of the Supreme Creation. And we are also Krishna in one sense. Because we cannot execute or exist independent of Krishna. So without Paramatma, we can possibly do nothing. We cannot even move our hands. I cannot even move my hands. I cannot even see anything. It's only because of we are so dependent on God. So in one sense, we are part of God. So people confuse. That's what is Advaita philosophy says, that we are one. We are one in the sense we are dependent on God for eternity. And we cannot be separated totally. Just like you have a white color cloth I'm wearing. We cannot separate the white out of the cloth. Right? It's called Prithak Siddhi. So nobody can separate the whiteness or the color of the cloth. Right? So the same way, the Jivatma is so dependent upon Paramatma that in one sense can be seen as one. And especially, Prabhupada also gives an example. Just like in India, so we have family-based businesses. So, for example, Tukharam and Sons. So the family, they run the business. The father and son, they're part of the business. But they're not one. But their will or their desire is the same, to make the business grow and grow. In the same way, so if we align with Krishna, then we become his part and parcel and we serve him favorably. Even if we are away from Krishna, we don't accept his supremacy. So we are part and parcel of him, but in a different way. In a way that is not pleasing to him, or not in harmony with him. So the conclusion is that as Jivatma, we owe our existence, we owe our wishes to be fulfilled by Paramatma's desire. And it is the best, or it's our best interest for us to be in sync, to be a servitor of Krishna, and to be his executor of his will, to align with his desires. That's where our best interest lies. That's where we can get complete happiness and peace. So with this conclusion, I would like to summarize there are 5 aspects. So we saw about Krishna, we saw about Balaram, we saw about Vishnu, and then Shambhu, Shiva, then finally we spoke about Jiva. So this hopefully gives you a good understanding about who is God and what is creation and who are we in the whole scheme of things. And I'd like to stop here. Any questions or any comments?
What is the need for creating a Jivatma if purposely known the material world is a place which is not really in the other part of the universe? What is the need for God to create a materialistic world and put a chief for it?
It's a very, very, very good question. Why should God do this, right? So we always like to understand this. So why are we here? What are we doing here? What is the purpose of life? So, as an Amsha of Krishna, so we also inherit the same qualities. We have the Sat, Chit and Ananda. So we are eternal. We know we are eternal. We understand we are eternal. As I said, we always think we are never going to die. That shows that we understand inherently that we are eternal. And we also cognizant. We always understand from the surroundings around us, Sat, Chit and Ananda. So we also want to enjoy, look for happiness. So we have the same nature of God as God, but we are very minute and we are separated from Him. So, as I mentioned before, our interest lies in being in harmony with Him. Then we also become happy because we are part and parcel. So if we give food to the stomach, the belly digests and gives the energy to the whole part of the body. But if each and every anga, each and every part of the body wants to enjoy independent of him, there's going to be disharmony in the body. It's all going to be, nothing is going to work out, and eventually the person is going to die. In the same way, our position is to be aligned with Krishna's desires and be his servant. So it is our nature. Jivera Swarupahoi Krishna Nityadas. We are servants of Krishna eternally. But it happens at some point of time that we want to explore outside Krishna's supremacy. So we want to experience a life without Krishna. Why not? Let me see what's outside. Just like a curiosity a child has, so it's the protection of parents, but it wants to go and explore the world and see. So every child has that curiosity. And when they become 15, they want to their own car and they want to go and explore, right? The same way, the Jivatma also has a desire to explore at some point. Not everybody, but some of us who are in this material world, we all at some point of time had a desire to explore the world, explore the creation, with Krishna being not personally present before us as Supreme God. So let us explore. So in that sense, we desire that Krishna fulfill our desire. That you be in this material world where you have made this whole creation and you are along with so many other people. Everybody is trying for the same thing, to be the enjoyers. Try to enjoy as much as possible. So he's just letting us, just like a parent sometimes let the child create a castle in the sand. The same way, so we were led in this material world because we wanted to be independent of God. We wanted to build a castle of our own dreams. And we try to build castles here, but castle eventually is washed away by the ocean. And then we are again struck by sorrow. Sometimes there is a happy end, sometimes there is a happy moment, we are happy. And sometimes there is a sad moment. So that keeps alternating. But after many lifetimes, by good fortune, if you come across a devotee, you come across this information that you are a spirit soul, and your real home is in the spiritual world, when you read Bhagavad Gita, then you come to the point that yes, this world is not real, this world is temporary, this body is not real, body is temporary, and I belong to Krishna, that's where my real home is, and I should go back there, and I should become the servant of Krishna in the spiritual world. So that knowledge comes by Krishna's mercy and also our own effort. So we try to seek reality, seek the truth, and Krishna makes the arrangement so that you come and meet the right person who gives you the right information, and then you make progress. It may take many lifetimes for us to become a pure devotee and go back to Krishna. But it can be in the same lifetime if you so desire. So it's in our own hands. It's our desire. If we desire to make it perfect this lifetime, we have the opportunity. So in this Kali Yuga especially, it's most easy. It's the the best of the situation we can have. We can easily make perfection by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the most sublime method of achieving our real perfection. Does it answer your question? Kanando? Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
I want to make one small comment, but let me say that I had to run out right after that because I had to get the spoons for them to serve up. But my comment is that it's very tricky because the same Veda that's given that information also gives the information of how one can enjoy in this world. And Krishna says that in the Gita also. It says not by following the flowery words of the Vedas where one can go up and one can also come down, but by understanding the absolute truth as it is and transcending it. That's where happiness ultimately comes from. But while in the world, we all worship God to enjoy in the world. At least the theistic people do. There are, of course, those that ignore and this and that. So it's a tricky thing because the very same Veda is helping us to fulfill our ambitions in this world.
But there is there is from a holistic point of view, yes, the Vedas does indicate different things, but it is trying to make us follow within the gambit of the rules and regulations.
Right.
Don't go outside the gambit of
And
the...
if we do that, then that ultimately, that impious type of being, unfortunately, has all that ill karma.
Right. Thank you, Prabhu.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody else? Any comments, any questions?
Again,
I'm sure I spoke a lot of different things. I think I put a lot of information, so please feel free to ask any clarification, anything that you might have. Kanan Prabhu or... No questions? Thank you very much. So we also have wonderful prasad, the food that was prepared and offered to Krishna with love. So please take prasadam and thank you for coming, and please come every Sunday. We have a similar program, Sunday Feast program. It's open for everyone to come and link back to Krishna once in a week at the least. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much for others on the call. Hare Krishna.